All right. So welcome back. If you listen to the part one of this, you already know where I was sharing my testimony and just explaining what God has been doing in my life for the past 8 to 9 months and explaining why there was only 2 episodes released of my old podcast and why, things are changing moving forward. And so, um, if you haven't listened to the first one, go back and listen to the first one because all this stuff that's coming is not going to make sense unless you listen to the first one. So, um, but I'm going to jump right back in and just continue on sharing kind of what God's been doing. So, I said, I was going through those 21 days of prayer and just God, I mean, every day he showed up. Every day. The first day that I went, it was like they're like, "We're focusing on praying for restoration in relationships." And I just fell apart because I'm like, "God, you knew I needed this." That was God confirming again. He's like, "I got this. It hurts right now, but I will take care of it. Those people love you. And even though it's strained right now, even though things are hard right now, like, I will restore it. Just have faith. I will take care of it." And I had this again, the peace of God just overflow me. And and so just spent that time praying and worshiping God and just spending time in his word every Friday during the 21 days of prayer. They would pray for healing over people. And I didn't grow up in a church that did healing or believed necessarily in laying on of hands and praying for healing and that kind of thing. It was kind of not talked about. So that was like kind of felt awkward. And I just, I'm telling you, when you are desperate, when you can't go any farther, like you are at rock bottom, you will do whatever God asks. And I just remember standing there just like, okay, I was like, God, can you heal me? Like, just kind of going through it in my head, like, is that something? Um, and I remember I just started praying and I said, God, I am not going to ask for physical healing from the rheumatoid arthritis. It's like, I'm not going to ask for that because if you heal my body, but you don't heal my mind, it won't matter. Like, I will be the same. But if you heal my mind, if you heal my mind, I know I can handle the physical pain. And I just let go of the the need to control the physical pain and trying to figure out, what was going on in my brain. And I just was like, okay, so I went forward and there was different pastors standing up at the front that were there to pray with you, pray over you. And so I went up and I went straight to the pastor that he and his wife had been helping me already. And so he knew the situation. And we talked for a minute and then just put his hands on my shoulders and just prayed this amazing prayer of just like, God, you know, we consecrate her to you. Like we are putting her, she is setting her aside for your work. We are here to plead with you to heal her and the thoughts that she has, the anxieties, the fears, and all of these things. And he just, he grabbed some oil and he put it on my forehead, and he explained it so very well in the prayer that this is not something, it's not magical oil, it's not anything special. It's a sign, a dedication of, we are calling out any kind of evil plan that was against me. We are, again, just, I am God's and no one else's, and they don't have control over my mind. And we prayed, and honestly, I felt so awkward. I awkwardly went back to my seat and was just like, "Ugh, I'm oily now." And but just kept praying, that God would do something and help me, and didn't notice anything. I was just like, "Okay, well," just kept praying that God would do something. And it was about 3 probably 3 weeks later, I was sitting in, um, therapy, and was talking to my therapist, and I said, I haven't really been anxious." And she's like, "Really? How long has that been, today?" Or it's like, "No, it's been for a while. I just haven't felt that anxiety, in my chest, the fear, the constant, like, just the heaviness of everything." She's like, "Huh." She's like, "Well, when did that start?" And so we started talking about it, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, it hasn't been since that day, that day that he prayed for me and prayed over me." And I was just like, "What in the world?" And I truly believe that God healed me from that, because it has been a weight on me for many years now, of just that heaviness, that what am I going to do? Always worried, always insecure, all of that. And it just went away. And it's not like I still have to work on my insecurities. I still have to work on certain things, but that continuous heavy feeling in my chest is gone. It's been 8 months, 8, 9 months, right? And I have not, I can drive through crazy traffic. I had a few months that I worked in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which that traffic is insane if you ever been down there, and no problems. Like, totally chill. Like, here I'm in Washington State now, and I drove downtown and had to parallel park. Now, I did not like it. Okay, I didn't like it, but I didn't freak out, and I was able to do it without, like, losing my mind about, and those are just small things. And just even in the move from Louisiana to Washington State, which was absolutely insane, that was not something that I really feared about. And there were some worries, there was some like, "Okay, how is this gonna work?" But, I mean, God just provided and worked it out, and it's just been so amazing to see God work. And so, as through these months that he's been teaching me and showing me, Carrie and I are good. We are, all of those friendships, just God restored. He did. And yes, there's still some things that need to be rebuilt, but Just let me tell you something. When God rebuilds something, he makes it better than before. I have to say these friendships that I've had, they've been so much sweeter and so much more God honoring. And I don't have to worry about, I said this, is you mad at me, or, and I haven't had a panic attack since, again, the time that he prayed over me. And so it's been amazing to watch God just heal and restore and put things back together. And man, God is good. And so through all of this, as you know, I didn't really like after, first part of that, I was like, okay, I need to get back in the podcast right away because the devil's not gonna win, right? And then but God was like, "No, not take a breath. You need some time." And as I started spending more time with God and everything, I started to be like, maybe I shouldn't." And I really started to feel like I don't think like I wanted to, God never took that desire away, but at the same time, I was like, I don't wanna mess it up again. And so I have been putting it off for a while and have been working on I've been taking some classes on how to do YouTube. Again, I'm still super, super novice. I don't know what I'm doing. So I trying my best to do this as professionally as possible and praying that God will help me and help me to learn how to do these things a little bit more so that I can put out a good quality podcast for him, and that people would want to watch and want to listen to what God's doing. Again, as I was praying about it and everything, I had kinda already figured, Carrie, I don't thi she was had kinda moved on from that and spoke with her and, she confirmed that she's been working on a book and God has given her a talent in writing, and so she's been working on a book and trying to focus on that, and I think that's amazing that she's following that prompting from God. And, hopefully, once she gets it done, we can have her on the podcast, and we can talk to her about her book. And, yeah, it just seemed like this is and I think God originally wanted me to do this on my own, but I kinda was too chicken to do it on my own, and so I pulled somebody else in, and I think part of everything going through that break was God being like, "Hey, I called you to do this. I didn't call her to do this. I called you to do this. I have something else for her to do." And so yeah, everything is good with me and Carrie. God is working in our relationship and continuing to grow and build that relationship back and that trust back. And so it's just, it's been so amazing to just watch God be God and put these things together. New podcast. And so I'm changing the name after all of that. Dark Thoughts, Brighter Days just didn't really seem appropriate any longer. It kind of made me feel icky. Yeah. So I just was like, we're going to change it. And I went through a couple of things. I at first was thinking of a few different names, but I landed on this one and I haven't been able to get it out of my head. So this is the one. I came up with a design and a logo, and I think that's what we're gonna go with. The logo and everything that I made. It may change a little bit, but yeah. The new name of the podcast is Faithful Wounds. And it is in reference to Proverbs 27:6, where it says, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful." And that I would not be here today if it was not for some very hard conversations, some very tough love from my friends and my family. And I am so thankful for how God has used them to grow me in my faith and in my walk with Him. And I don't take that lightly. And this is in honor of them. And also just kind of like that's what this podcast is about. Like God's kind of this is the direction, we want to go. We want to have some hard conversations in a loving way that will help you, like faithful wounds. Like just because you're like, oh, this doesn't feel good listening to it, let it sit for a minute, because those wounds are faithful from a friend if it's from God's word. They're faithful and they will produce good fruit, and you just have to hang in there. And I am the perfect example for that because God has just used people in my life to have these painful conversations. And working through all of that has brought me to a place of realization, and the light bulb went off and I understand what they were trying to say, and God's just opened up his word to me. So it can be painful, but it's part of the process. So calling the podcast Faithful Wounds, and I'd been trying to figure out where are we going with this and this kind of thing. And I love theology. I am a theology nerd. Yeah, I want to talk about theology. I want to talk about, I made a joke with a friend. I want to make theology cool again because typically the people talking about theology are stuffy. Every Christian should be digging into theology, and it's for everyone. And everyone can study their Bible and learn. And I see an awakening of that, of young people just really having a desire for the word and for doctrine and theology and that kind of thing. And so let's make theology cool again. And so, yeah, I just want to have different conversations about faith and always bringing and basing biblical truth into the decisions that we make and how we live our lives. So that is a lot. And, but yeah, it has been a journey. Like God's just continuing to work on me. And I'm so thankful that He saved my life and that I have this opportunity to come back and do this again. Only God can do that. And so, yeah, I will start working on my next topic. I love you guys. I thank you for watching. Share with your friends, hit the like button, subscribe, all the things. But yes, let's make theology cool again. I'll see you later. Bye.